Locus, location, luster, low sodium sister. Where in zero have you been, waiting for a monostitch of color? Where in the book have they led me, now that it's here and there? In the wind and in your hair. Such a small, poor text, the shard and its magnifying glass. In Worcester and Gloucester, the center and its mass. Where in Boston are you from? I'm from the mentor class. The music box has not arrived, whose promises are sinister. Can you ask me what I should and should not ask? What I know not to know now, nothing when it's there. Hello. That was the title poem from my recent collection, Toy Elegy, which was published through my imprint, the Bodily Press. My name is Eliot Cardinaux, and I'm speaking to you today on behalf of the Bodily Press, of which I am the founding editor, to ask for your support as we wrap up a very productive year of publications ranging from poetry chapbooks to full-length poetry collections. A little bit about the press. I founded it in 2017 based on the notion that physical media was starting to feel like a thing of the past. It started as an outlet for chapbooks by me and a few of my friends in the poetry world, and soon after became also an outlet for music that I was recording with many different musicians from the US and Europe. And so I started releasing CDs. Anyway, in the past year, I have started publishing more poets, quite in earnest, I would say. It became a sort of, I won't say obsession, but with the closure of small press distribution, I found that there was a great lack of small presses, and likewise a great lack of resources for small presses. Small press distribution was, known as one of the main distributors for small presses, and poetry is often a small press endeavor. So I decided to sort of take matters into my own hands, and I started to reach out to friends of mine in the poetry world throughout the US and ask them for chapbooks to publish. So I started with a trio of chapbooks, one by Norman Finkelstein, one by Mark Scroggins, and one by Joseph Donahue, three poets of an older generation whom I had looked up to for a long time already. Some very good news is the forthcoming publication of the first full-length collection of poems published by the press by a poet other than myself, and that is right here. This is called the Etc. Variations. Poems for and with musicians by poet Denver Butson. Denver is a Brooklyn-based poet who's worked with many improvising musicians, the likes of Matt Menefee and Lucian Bond, to Marco Capelli and the Italian Surf Academy, to J.T. Lewis and more recently Marc Ribot. These are poems that Denver has collected over the course of 3 decades of writing poems for and with musicians. I reached out to Denver only several months ago, and we decided that it would be good if we put our heads together to try to put out a book of his. And so with that, I'm asking for your support to help fund the printing of said book and a number of other chapbooks that are forthcoming. I acknowledge that for the most part this year, most of the poetry I've published has been by male authors. And I do have another chapbook forthcoming from National Book Award winner Nathaniel Mackey, which I'm very excited about, called By Bent Light. But I also have 5 chapbooks by women and non-binary artists, not to make that secondary, but yes, poets including Sarah Menefee, the beat poet of the San Francisco streets, Shana Bulhan, a queer, disabled poet of South Asian diaspora, and Deja Carr, who's an African-American poet and musician, aka Mal Devisa, based in Western Massachusetts, like Shana Bulhan. A chapbook by Suzanne Mercury, who's a Boston poet, sort of a cult poet and beekeeper. There is also one book of paintings by a local artist, Tasha Robbins, also of the sort of Beat generation. We would call her a painter among poets, close with Gregory Corso and the whole coterie of Beat poets from the 60s. And Tasha has a whole collection of paintings that are visually depicting the Hebrew alphabet in a sort of angelic script. That's called Angel Alphabet, and all of those chapbooks are forthcoming by spring 2025. With this said, publishing does take a fair amount of financial support, mostly because poetry is not known as the most commercial of art forms, and I am working on an out-of-pocket shoestring budget, to put it mildly, and I'm reaching out to say, please, if you like what you hear, feel free to look at our campaign page and see that there are many different rewards, donation tiers per se, where you can choose based on the amount that you can afford to give or you would like to give, which rewards you would like. And all of the titles I've mentioned above are included in that. Now, the Bodily Press also doubles as a record label, and we have our entire digital discography up for grabs as rewards, in smaller tiers up to the higher tier. There are many levels of possible donation, whatever any of you can afford, or feel comfortable or willing to give. I think the lowest is $2 for a sticker with the Bodily Press logo. It ranges up, to the $1,000, which I volunteer myself to give a reading, private reading, or in any public venue, along with the entire discography, all of our 2024 releases, and a subscription to all 2025 releases. So I ask you very humbly to help support this endeavor. Poetry needs publishers more than ever. Poets need publishers more than ever. And yeah, I hope that you will look at the website and try to see what's available, and check out also our BANDCAMP page at bodilypress.bandcamp.com to see the music that we have available to stream, and also books that we have already available for sale. With that, I thank you for your time. I wish you a happy end of the year, and let's get this ball rolling. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Goodbye.